are the Chicago Bulls have just been introduced to the crowd, and here are the starting lineups for the Philadelphia 76ers. Ricky Green and Hersey Hawkins in the backcourt. Armin Gilliam, Charles Barkley are up front. And the center, Rick Mahorn, the coach of the 76ers. Jim Leineman, similar to Phil Jackson, he's done a superb job in a potentially disruptive setting. He's kept a volatile Sixer squad from self-destructing. John Paxson, Michael Jordan open to the backcourt for the Bulls, who go with their usual starting lineup, although Phil Jackson was telling us there could be quite a bit of shuffling here today with the matchup problems that the Sixers present. And you see the rest of the lineup with Cartwright at center and Pippen and Grant at the forwards. And Phil Jackson, the head coach of the Bulls, telling us yesterday at practice that he was upset with his team's performance against the 76ers 3 weeks ago, a game won by Philly in overtime. Despite the absence of Charles Barkley, he said the Bulls were lackadaisical defensively.
Well, things like that can happen at the end of the season, particularly when you no longer can attain certain goals. Portland had locked up the best record overall in the NBA. They had won the division already, and it's tough to keep them going sometimes when there have been so many big games during the course of the season.
And it was Barkley after that game, who, as we said, sat out, who's pointed out that the Bulls showed lack of respect for the 76ers that day. They did not take the game seriously. As it turned out during the regular season, the Sixers beat the Bulls 3 out of 4. Philadelphia beating the Bulls here twice. Once in that overtime session, they split 2 games at the Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Charles was planning his motivational tour career by just using every opportunity he could to get his teammates ready for what might happen after the season.
Well, he pointed out that part of that disrespect was demonstrated by Michael Jordan, who had a golf date earlier in the day at 7:30 in the morning. Hugh Evans, Bennett Salvatore, and Ronnie Nunn are the officials. It'll be Gilliam and Cartwright on the opening tip. And game 1 of the best of 7 is underway as the Bulls control the tip. The matchup opens with Barkley against Pippen and Hawkins going against Jordan. Ricky Green guarding John Paxson. And Mahorn against Cartwright, who goes right at him. They try to get him off early. Gilliam tipped it home. Well, Grant gets credit for it, and it's a 2-0 Chicago lead.
One of the points of emphasis is the fact that Gilliam needs to get on the glass more. He went after it. Unfortunately, it worked out the wrong way as the jumper is knocked down by Hersey Hawkins to start it off for the 76ers.
There was a point earlier in his career that Hersey Hawkins was said to be intimidated by Michael Jordan, but he's played well against him over the past year. Nice pass for Grant, and the Bulls lead at 4-2.
When Chicago's offense is operating as they intended to, you'll see a lot of movement without the basketball, an occasional backdoor layup.
Mahorn isolated against Cartwright. Rick Mahorn has been on fire. Coming in shooting 78% against the Milwaukee Bucks. And that was a new playoff record. Cartwright feeling for Mahorn, going right at him. Yes. The Bulls 6 and the 76ers 2.
And Chicago really stays with its game plan early. They said yesterday that one of the areas they felt was Cartwright scoring over the top of Mahorn. As they come down early in the game, we see him go right at him.
Crowd reacts to the foul. A push out on Scottie Pippen.
Pippen changing sides on Barkley, trying to give him different looks down in the post. Comes around on the baseline, trying to get a piece.
Ricky Green checking it over. Now Pippen right on Barkley. And Hawkins from deep. Paxson checking the floor. Jordan using the pick, met on a switch. Now backing Hawkins. Yes, the Bulls 8 and the 76ers 2. In an injury-hit regular season, the Sixers went 44-38. They finished second to the Boston Celtics in the Atlantic Division. Getting to this point, a major accomplishment for Jim Leineman. Cartwright on the rebound. The Bulls at 61-21 during the regular campaign. Best record in the history of the franchise. The double up on Jordan, who got it to Grant, got the step. Bulls able to get back. And now Jordan guarding Barkley. Grant over to help. Hawkins had the lane closed by Pippen. Good defensive sequence by the Bulls.
Well, the Bulls are so athletic, they can switch at times on the floor, still not wind up with a real bad matchup.
Jordan with the reject and an official timeout. They want to reset the 24. The 24-second clock showing 24, but it has been changed to a 22.
Because the ball hits the rim, there should be a reset. They had the clock at 2 seconds. Now it's back to 22.
3:10 gone by in this first quarter. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Game 2 Monday night here in Chicago. Gilliam posting on Grant. Armin Gilliam coming off a good series against the Bucks. Sixers struggling here in the early moments. It will be Chicago ball.
There was a period of time during the season without Charles Barkley where Armin Gilliam stepped up his game, basically took over the offensive load for this team, and it was a good sign for the 76ers. But down the road, could they exist together? Charles told us yesterday, no problem at all. I was happy to see him play that well.
Jordan lost it. And here's Green on the run, going 1-on-3 and hitting. Spectacular move by the 36-year-old Ricky Green. Pippen getting down in a hurry, and he answers.
Well, I don't think there's any question here. Neither team is afraid to come right back at the other one and put points up on the board.
It's the Bulls 10, the 76ers 4. Gilliam. And the Bulls on the run. Pippen for Paxson, wide open. And a loose ball foul being called. It's on the 76ers.
One thing that Philadelphia tries to do is get the ball back down the floor after makes or misses. Ricky Green, one of the best at pushing it back at you, making your transition defense have to work. And talking about transition, Charles Barkley really struggled that last time down. He was the last person down the floor for both teams.
Cartwright, yes. And a Philadelphia foul was called on Mahorn. And the Bulls wasting no time on the inbounds. Cartwright with his second bucket. Bulls with a 12-4 advantage. Green. Barkley had it slapped away. And Pippen putting the moves on is stopped by the combination of Mahorn and Hawkins. Pippen again on a deceptive dribble. It's a 3-on-2. Barkley with the spin. Hawkins, and he'll go to the line.
Well, in fairness to the 76ers, they just can't get some of the short shots to drop for him right now. But it's interesting that even though he hasn't been able to knock them down, Jim Lynam keeps going at Armin Gilliam. That must have been the strategy before the game to get him off early. He's staying with it. We haven't seen Barkley involved a whole lot other than transition stuff that's turned up.
Hersey Hawkins, one of the better free throw shooters in the NBA. He's 87% from the line. Charles Barkley has made it back from a sprain of the medial collateral ligament in his left knee, still slowed by that brace that encases the knee, and he is playing with restraint. The spin moves, told us last night, have to be controlled.
Well, the first time he tried one of his favorite moves, he said there was so much pain, he decided at that point, I'm going to shelve that one for a while until I'm feeling a lot better.
Chicago 12 and Philadelphia 6. Cartwright, yes. Fast start for Bill Cartwright, and the Bulls lead by 8.
Gilliam wound up on Cartwright. Chicago takes advantage, goes right back inside. Bill's just too big for Gilliam to play him.
Cartwright had a solid series against Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. Pippen guns it down. Jordan putting the move on Hawkins. Yes!